Welcome to Sports Cards Nonsense, everybody. How are you? It's another fantastic episode. You're probably wondering, oh, what in the world? Jesse's doing a lot of talking for the opening of the show. Michael is not here. A little last-minute family stuff comes up. We've got probably one of our favorite stand-ins, Mr. Alex of Clever Cuban Cards. How are you, Alex?
I'm good. How are you, Jesse?
Oh, my goodness. I'm so good. For those who don't know, because you've not, maybe you're just hearing this, you're not seeing it, Alex and I are both wearing green.
Good color.
I don't know why this is a thing. Like, why? It shouldn't even matter. It's not even the same shade of green.
No.
But it is kind of throwing me off. Ever since Rebecca noticed it, now all I can think of, oh, yeah, we're both wearing green.
You can go change.
I will. I think I might just take this off, just go shirtless. You okay with that?
It'd be a choice.
Does the male figure make you uncomfortable at all?
No.
Okay. Well, when it's this male figure as
maybe a little bit.
The pinnacle of manhood, which is what you would see. Getting off to a strong start, I would say. Good to have you, Alex. Thank you for being here. We are going to have a fun episode. We got a guest joining. For all of you hockey lovers, now those who are not hockey lovers, do not go anywhere. We'll make it a fun conversation, especially because we're going to be introducing something that's really pretty cool about this special guest. So we'll save that news. But until then, we've got a few stories to discuss, a few recent events that I'm going to be discussing, whether you like it or not. But let's kind of jump right in with some of the bigger news that's happened in the last few days. I wanted to talk about eBay in this PSA rollout, okay? Yeah. So this is the first piece of news that both Alex and I had on our sheets to discuss today. eBay and PSA have partnered together. They are doing a basically send to vault option when you get your cards graded through eBay. That's something that started, I think, in March of this year, where if you got a card, I want to say $250 in value or over, right? Is that what we discussed? If you bought a card on eBay for $250 or over, you could send it to PSA for grading. First off, Alex, I want to know your thoughts. Pro?
No.
You didn't even like the option to do that?
No.
Really? Why?
If I'm buying an expensive card,
you want to see it.
If I'm spending a lot of money, $250 is a lot of money on a card.
Okay.
If I'm buying an expensive card and I'm saying, okay, do I want to go pay to get it graded? Most likely, it might be one that we're getting an upcharge on, etc.
Okay.
If I'm going to have to pay to get it graded, I want to see the card to know what condition it is. You're not going to be able to tell based off of 2-3 pictures whether or not it's going to get a 10.
Interesting. Okay.
And sellers all the time take it at the right angle where you can't see the the little print line or the surface scratch there. Like, why would you send in a card to get graded without ever looking at it? And maybe that's just me, but okay. I'd never do it.
So, and is that mainly based also on cost is what I'm hearing, because you're afraid that the cost of the card would garner an upcharge if it was good, and if it wasn't good, then it may not be worth grading. That's your overall thought.
Well, in the modern market where a PSA 9 is equal to, if not less than raw on a lot of modern cards.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a huge risk to take.
So then you would not have been necessarily on board for this send to vault option to begin with, if that's your case, if that's your thinking.
I like the vault. Like, I think that it's great to be able to send stuff in. I talked about how you can scan PSA slabs. Like, if you have slabs that you're going to a show or doing anything like that, scan your slabs, because PSA will tell you if they have an offer on that card. And that then is a good floor. Like, I love the PSA vault and being able to do that, whether it's keeping high valuable collectibles somewhere else so that they're safely and securely stored.
Sure.
If you buy a card on eBay and you're somebody who's not set up as a LLC where you have, tax exemption, et cetera, and you can do that where then they're not having to pay for sales tax, another huge win. But
okay. All right.
I like the vault. I just don't like the grade option, basically.
Here's my thinking is more options, the better. If you don't want to use it, don't use it.
Oh, absolutely. And that goes for everything.
I agree. And that's why I'm thinking, like, I don't view this as a bad thing in any way, because it's like, yeah, those are concerns. I think that's a valid concern of, hey, what is the actual condition? Could it be off? Mm-hmm. But my other thought is, well, there's probably going to be exceptions to that. And probably a lot of people are going to see a card and they're going to maybe have seen it online. Someone posted it, Breaker pulled it. They reach out to them. Hey, was there any issues? Should I know anything else about this? Or they may have reached out to the person selling it directly and said, hey, can I get a couple extra pictures or something of this? Because sometimes the eBay seller will do that. Like you reach out to them and ask them for a couple extras. So my thinking is great. Excellent. Because I may or may not use it, but I'd rather have the option than not have the option.
Oh, yeah. It's the same thing with cards where it's people complain about a price or there's that. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like it, which I'm not going to use it, and that's fine. I am not the target market for it.
Yeah.
What I do think, though, that if they want to make this successful, I think that eBay should allow you to upload videos to your listings in addition to pictures.
Ooh.
Because I know as somebody who buys a lot of cards online, if I ask somebody, hey, how's the condition of the card? A lot of times I will get a video from the seller kind of moving the card in the light so that you can see it, flipping it around, showing you the details. If you are trying to sell a high value card and trying to communicate, hey, this is worth grading, and that's maybe why I'm maybe priced a little bit higher than maybe somebody else.
Yeah.
Add a video. If you could upload a video, that I think would be a big game changer. So I think they should look at that.
I would be very curious of what all would have to go into that, because you think of, the mindset of many of the internet, many of your fellow internetians.
But you can upload pictures.
But that's where I think you probably have some kind of filtering process, right? But as it uploads, I do wonder what that would take though, security wise of we're going to put up this video and what's that in the background? Oh, someone's dirty undies on the ground or whatever the case is.
But you have people that do stuff where, people are taking pictures and risque.
I trust me. But that's
to
where
try and get the card to sell. Their whole, it's.
I know. But
they already do it.
That's neither here nor there. I do think it's an interesting idea to do that so that kind of leads me into the other thing I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to start with this bit, but I did have to talk about it. I don't like to lead with myself forward. I feel like it's a little braggadocious, if you will. Look that one up, Mike. He's not listening to this. That's fine. So did you see what happened the other night? Have you heard about the card that I pulled?
No.
You didn't?
No. I heard about your costume. I didn't hear about the card.
You are upsetting me greatly right now, sir. It's okay. It's okay. You're a sports card guy. This is a sports card podcast mainly. Every once in a while, we'll talk a little non-sport. And you know what we're going to do? And
get Mike mad because we're talking
exactly.
non-sport.
We're going to in this very moment. On Wednesday, I got 2 cases of Sapphire the Disney Sapphire product, which is hugely popular. Very, very popular. In fact, I wrote this segment down as huge pull, huge hate. So this is where it gets fun. I pull this card out of the second case. My last case is Sapphire.
What's the card?
It is a quad auto of Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy. Okay. 1 of 1. It's the Papa Daraj
or whatever it is. Yeah.
The Papa. I can never get it, and I will never try and get it correctly. That being said, it was huge. It was very exciting. All the people in the room got pumped. The guy who has now ended up buying it joined the room because he apparently was looking for this room. I don't know if I want to shout him out yet. He'll post all of his stuff soon. He's a very well-known figure in the hobby. But he's a huge Disney collector, has tons of one of ones. 3 different owners of that card because one person owned both the Mickey Minnie spot, someone owned the Daisy, someone owned the Donald. How much this is great. You don't know anything about it. How much would you think that card would go for?
10 grand, 15 grand.
Okay, that's fair. The one and only Walt that I pulled a few weeks ago.
What, 13?
That was $13,000. 4th largest public sale, by the way, according to Card Ladder. That card has now officially sold for $30,000. That's all I get. Alex is great to have in the office, but man, don't try and get him excited.
It's nonsense.
You're going to fail.
You can go to Disney World and get the characters to do their fake little whatever.
So this is perfect. This is perfect. This is why we're having this conversation. The huge hate comes from people who have a similar mindset, but want to be offensive purposely.
But I don't like it, so I'm not going to buy it.
And that's okay. And that's where you differentiate. Yeah. A lot of people don't. They want you to know how much they hate it and how you should hate it too.
But that's the hobby for you.
But here's the problem, is that these people don't understand anything about why it's collectible. They think it's because, we got a signature from Daisy, we got a signature from Mickey, it's so big. We know, everybody who knows a facsimile auto is not a real auto. We know these aren't real. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks this is because it's the autograph. It's because it's a fun insert idea. It's the same thing about the downtowns. It's the same thing about your Kabooms or any other popular insert in any sport product. It is the idea behind it that
it's manufactured collectibility and manufactured scarcity.
And
that's all it
people think
is.
That's really cool. They don't think of it as, oh my goodness, who signed that card? Oh, that's not even real. Like, I'm not going to read the comments because I have now chosen purposely not to read them. But like on,
I think we should.
You want to read a couple?
No, we're fine.
Maybe we should. Actually, we're going to read a couple. We're going to read a few comments. Not only that, I will say the other comments of hate were because of how I was holding it. It looked like I was squeezing the death out of it, but I wasn't.
Had
it was
a nice
just
death grip on it.
Yeah, that's what it looked like because of my hands are very soft. I have a non-workman's hand. All right, and very few calluses over here. But that being said, I had just a grip on the entire deck of cards. I was just pulling one by one, and so I get to the last one, and it looks like, oh, I'm just gripping this thing in, but really, I'm just barely holding it with part of my hand, and it just looks like it's
holding it with your bare paws.
Yes, well, and the buyer can confirm because he wanted to see a few pictures and confirm corners, edges all look good. Now then, some of the comments on here, which I am already regretting. So I'm not even gonna go to my personal account were aggressive, like because I posted it on my personal account, but then I posted it in the non-sports cards nonsense group. That group, which is. It's interesting how the posts get out from outside the group because you got a lot of people not in the group commenting. And they're commenting because of the thoughts that they have about these things. So let's see here. A guy named Scott, 4 fake autos from cartoon characters? No, thanks. That's not terrible.
Not even bad.
No, he's fine. Tyler, and then another letter, signed them. LMAFO. Let me see. Let's go down to maybe some more aggressive ones. Fake autos of cartoon characters, $30,000. Wow. How do people get into this? Congrats, but I don't get it. Here's one. Reggie. Why the heck would someone want a card signed by someone playing a cartoon character? It's not like there's a real Mickey Mouse and he signed it. Sports cards are at least signed by the actual person. These cards are signed by some random person signing as a cartoon character. Makes no dang sense. It's not even that hateful. I do understand that one, but it's like that's the majority of these is like, let me hear more about the person who signed, why it's a fake one, why you shouldn't like it. Again, it's just there's so much confusion as to why people actually care about it. That's probably more of my irritation.
It is typical sports cards nonsense Facebook group whining, complaining about anything. You post anything. You post a big card. You post a downtown sale, a whatever.
Yeah.
Anything. The hobby loves to complain. They do.
Well, and I said something about like, hey, we all collect cardboard. At the end of the day, we're all collecting pieces of cardboard. I compared it to like downtowns or something, or cosmic cards. Like if you get a downtown, there's not like a lot of times there's like almost a cartoon character in the background or like some animated thing. It's not like the player's not actually playing on some animated field. There's not a cosmic card. They're not playing out in space, but it's okay. We accept it. We like it. We still get it.
It's all nonsense.
And people are like,
fine.
oh, you can't compare that to a downtown, a fake auto to a downtown. I'm like, you don't, but that's where you don't understand.
Jesse, you care about the haters too much.
I do. And I do want to move past it, but it is something that I'm like, at least I wanted to try and voice the non-sport collectors thinking on this. We know why we're collecting, and we know it's not because of the auto. We think it's real or something like that. We think it's just a cool concept, and the one of one is really the most valuable part of it. So, all right, that's it. I'll get off my
non-sport high horse.
Yeah, my non-sport soapbox for a moment. Let's talk about any of your things, because I've got something about Austin Reeves. I've got some Upper Deck, but we're gonna save that for our other guest. Before our guest gets here, let's do something real quick that's actually sports related. What's with this purple Kaboom?
It's a stupid new parallel. It's Panini milking whatever they can.
Okay.
My understanding is that the purple Kaboom is a first off the line exclusive. They're not numbered.
So Your issue with the Kaboom is the simple fact that it's another parallel.
It's just we've seen them do it with downtowns, where look at the print run of downtowns from 2020 to 2021, 22, and so on.
Yep.
Kabooms have, I think, we've still seen a large increase in the print run. The checklist is 40 plus players long now. You've got the vertical and the horizontals. You've got you still have your typical, base, gold, and then the green is the 101.
Yep.
But now they've also introduced the purple.
How many? So it's 3 now?
3 parallels plus your base, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Which, that is not much, but it's just to introduce this in the last year that you have the license, it's going to be something that I'm sure that breakers and everybody in the world is going to pump up as the big new thing, the purple Kabooms. Oh my goodness, we pulled the Jackson Dart purple Kaboom.
Sure.
There's only going to be 1 year of purple Kabooms. They're not numbered. I don't think there's going to be any longevity in them because there's no foundation. Why is it that the gold prism holds such a high regard in the hobby? Because it came out, it was a parallel. It's one of the OG parallels. Why in Bowman, the true colors, air quotes, a true blue numbered out of 150 will sell for more than a yellow out of 75. Why? Because it's one of the original parallels.
Yep.
The hobby values the original ones, and this is just Panini creating more fake chases to increase the price of these first off the line boxes.
I can get that.
Underrated for a class that does not have many big chases. You've got Jackson Dart and maybe Cam Ward is questionable.
We're not talking about Cam Ward, sir. Thank you very much.
But exactly, I just don't like it.
My only thinking on it is it's another one for somebody who's going to do as best they can to sell as many cards as they can right now. And what else do we expect in the hobby?
Oh, I expect nothing else. And at the end of the day, as we said at the beginning of the podcast, if you don't like it, just don't buy it. But I can sit here and I'm not going to buy it. But I can sit here and complain about it, though.
No. I don't think there's anything wrong with complaining about it either, because it's like, oh, well, we don't necessarily want another version of that. Maybe the hobby in general doesn't want another version of that because it's just watering down the other Kabooms that are out there. My thinking is, well, you say it's 1 more year, though.
This is the last year.
You say that as because it's the last year of licensing.
Yeah.
But who says they're not going to do unlicensed product?
But they don't have... I will be curious to see how Panini moves forward, because when they made unlicensed product in the past, their baseball product, they had the MLB Players Association license. So they were able to make cards with the players in the MLB Players Association.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore.
But
they don't.
So that raises the question, did Topps have it this last year? They had the PA licensing.
The PA did not have exclusive licensing. They worked with Panini and Topps.
That's right. Okay.
Now Topps has the PA licensing for football, basketball, and baseball in addition to the leagues. My understanding is that Panini will be able to make cards of the athletes that they sign to an exclusive deal outside of the PA. So...
But that's the thing. They'll have those athletes. If they had those signed, they must have had something in place, right?
But I think there's also limitations in terms of how many. I think it's going to end up being like Prison Baseball is right now, where you've got a lot of prospects and you have a lot of retired guys that are no longer in the PA. And could you pull yourself a Tom Brady? And granted, I know Tom Brady is pretty tight with Fanatics, so maybe not. Could you pull yourself a Peyton Manning purple Kaboom in 2028? Sure. But who cares?
I guess I don't think many will care, but there will still be collectors of it because it'll inevitably go down in price, and there will be people who collect that, just like the people that were collecting Topps when there was no licensing.
Yep.
That's at least my thinking on it. And I do believe if they got that licensing, if the licensing proves to be that they will continue to be able to make cards even after the end date, because there's been some speculation of like, well, do those exclusivities with Panini end when the Topps licensing kicks in? We're not 100% sure on how that will work. But if it does, if they continue to have it, they must have thought ahead of time, like, how are we going to use this if we only have a handful of players?
I think there are no thoughts. There's just...
Really? Let's just throw the money at it and see how we can get somebody locked in?
Yep. That's my thought. But
okay.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I think we've got our guest. Let's go ahead and bring Doug on the show. All right, guys, we are here with Doug Plagens. He is known for a number of things. You are the announcer for the Florida Panthers hockey team. Is this correct?
Yes, the radio voice of the National Hockey League's Florida Panthers. This is my 11th season, and in my career, which spans 18 seasons now, 7 seasons in the minor leagues, and then 11 with the Panthers in the National Hockey League. Coming up at some point this season on 1,400 professional games broadcast. So that's what's on the horizon. I got to go back to the archives and see exactly when I'm going to hit that. But yeah, I've been fortunate enough to be able to make a living broadcasting hockey for nearly 2 decades.
Amazing. Now, Alex, how much on a scale 1 to 10, your knowledge of hockey?
3.
Okay. That's one better than me. I was going to say it too. So we're already starting off on a low bar. So you can say literally whatever you want, and we're going to believe you. But we do have there's some questions that we'll have for you as well. But we wanted to have you on because it's kind of a special thing that we've got going on. The SCN network of media has been expanding, ever expanding. And you are one of the newest entries in that expansion. You will be having a new hockey podcast on the network. What's the name of the podcast?
So we are going to, in the next couple of weeks, be on the lookout for it. We are going to debut the Nonsense on Ice podcast. We will be talking about everything going on around the National Hockey League and how it pertains to what we love, the card and memorabilia hobby. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to engaging everybody, being a part of the team. I've been a long time listener, and you guys do outstanding work. So really looking forward to being involved, and looking forward to talking to both hockey diehards and hockey newcomers alike.
Well, I will say, of all the sports that we don't talk about all that often, hockey is probably the biggest one that we get requests for. Mm-hmm. It's soccer and hockey, but obviously hockey big in the States, especially certain parts. I think that this is one of the most needed things for the network. I'm curious, where did we get the name Nonsense on Ice? Because I love it.
It's a good one.
I love it. I literally just heard it today.
Well, I'm glad you guys like it. I was kicking around some ideas, and in some of the chats we had behind the scenes, I was allowed to use the phrase nonsense or the term nonsense if it fit, if it worked.
Sure.
And I thought that Nonsense on Ice was simple. It was to the point. I think anybody who stumbles across it is going to realize that it's a hockey podcast, whether, again, they're a hockey diehard or if there's somebody who's just learned about hockey or find out about it for the first time. I think it's self-explanatory, but I like to think it was catchy, so I'm glad you guys are on board.
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
is.
Absolutely. I would like to hear in your best radio announcer voice you introducing the podcast. Can you do I'm putting you on the spot. Can I hear what it would sound like?
It is kind of on the spot. It's like telling a comedian to do something funny.
Do it.
But
do it now.
In my voice, the way I talk, this is kind of just how I am on the air. So I think it's going to be hey, everybody, welcome in to another exciting edition of the Nonsense on Ice podcast. Woo. Thanks for being here today. And we will dive into, like I said, we'll take the big stories from the National Hockey League, from the hockey world, because again, it's not just the NHL. If we could throw out some different tentacles here for hockey. This is a big year for a lot of folks to get into the hockey sphere because you've got NHL players going to play in the Olympics for the first time since 2014. So if you're in the hobby looking for opportunity, perhaps, you know that during the Olympics, there are a lot of guys that get eyeballs on them that may not otherwise. And if Team USA or Team Canada specifically, as it ties to the hobby, were to get in and perhaps win a gold medal, you could see some hobby stock rise, I would think, for a lot of players, a lot of familiar NHL faces. So again, I think this is something that's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a great time to launch it and get it off the ground. If we're talking about it from a hobby perspective, I think there are a ton of different great storylines, and I think we have a lot of great young talent in the league. It's really as high a level of young talent as there's ever been. You got a lot of greats, Crosby, Ovechkin, players like that still around. I think it's also a great time to find out about hockey for the first time. It's a great time to introduce yourself to the sport. Hopefully we can do some of that here.
Well, and I love, too, that we've got Upper Deck that's going to be a sponsor of the show. So we know we'll have, like, topics to discuss with new products and things like that. Now, are you a collector yourself?
I am. So I can give you the quick nuts and bolts version or story, summary, whatever you want to call it, the Reader's Digest version. Going back to 1989, I wanted some baseball cards. My grandma got me a pack of baseball cards at the grocery store, and it was a 1989 top cello pack. Remember the cello packs? You could see the card on the top, you could see the card on the bottom.
Yep.
All I remember, because I am a Michigan kid, all I remember was I thumbed through it and there were no tigers. I just remember no tigers in that pack. That's really the only memory I have from that first pack of cards. But not long after that, I was at 7-Eleven. They had 1990 Pro Set hockey right there next to the cash register. My dad bought me a couple of packs of that, and it was you remember the plastic-ish wrappers that you couldn't see through, and they were blue. It was Series 1. I didn't pull the famous Stanley Cup hologram, but it was off and running from that point forward.
That was where you got your start. Okay, that's pretty cool. You strong memory, by the way. I have no idea anything about my first packs. But you are from up north, where hockey is probably a little bit more popular. Where would you say the state of hockey is in the U.S. as far as all-time popularity? Are we like at that point? Are we needing to get back to that point? What would you characterize it as?
I think it's absolutely on the rise. I think there are a lot of different numbers that would suggest that. And getting back to a point I made a little bit ago, I think the level of talent across the National Hockey League, I mean, there are 32 teams now after, Seattle came in a couple of years ago. That got us up to 32. The level of talent is as high as it's ever been. It is a global game, so you have players coming from all corners of the world. But the level of American hockey talent specifically is the greatest that it's ever been. And you look at the way that the sport has grown in the States the last 20 years, the level of American talent really just shows how much the sport has grown here in the United States over the last 20 or so years. So again, it's growing a lot. I think we see that from just a numbers standpoint, looking at the way that the sport is drawing, ticket sales, ratings, everything like that. But I think when you look at the hobby as well, it's strong. There are a lot of different, like I said, exciting young players that people are having a good time collecting. And there are still some, I know right now, you guys have been talking about it. There's been a surge in the GOATs, heightened interest in the all-time greats. Gretzky's stuff has always been strong, but we've got players like Sidney Crosby, like Alex Ovechkin still playing with a lot of cool stuff out there that you can go and get. And we've seen that market continue to be strong as well. So like I said, regardless of what you're looking for, I think there's something for you in the hockey world. And I can speak to it as somebody who's worked down here in the Sunshine State for the last decade plus. Obviously, a lot of people like to use the phrase tradition or non-traditional hockey market. And Jesse, I know you've been in Nashville for a long time, and the Preds came in, and the Preds came in, and hockey's grown steadily. And I can speak from experience being at games there. There's an appetite for it, and it's become part of the fabric kind of there in downtown Nashville. But I've seen the buzz for hockey grow so much down here in Florida. And nowadays, when you see players drafted out of Texas, out of California, out of Florida, it's not strange anymore. You tend to see that somewhat routinely. Just shows how much, like I said, the sport has grown over the years.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, when Nashville got a hockey team, I don't think my thought was, why? Like, I think that was my initial thinking was like, oh, is hockey a thing? But then you go to a hockey game, and it is like there's something fun about like being cold in the middle of summer when you're watching a game. You're also enjoying the aspect of, I don't know, I got on Jumbotron 3 times at my first Predators game. So ever since then, Did
you have your shirt on?
I kept my shirt on. I did dance though. So but it's always kept like that, the fun memory of like everything that happens there. But also, I don't know, like since that time, the level of hockey fandom in the Middle Tennessee and Tennessee in general, I would say has gone through the roof because you never heard about it growing up. I would imagine that's got to be the case throughout the country as more and more teams have been added. I think that if we are going to be talking about hockey more on the network, there's probably not a better time, especially because the point you made earlier about like the GOATs going up, other expansions of just the card market in general to the general public seems to be I don't know. I don't want to say all-time highs because I question where we were in 2021 to now, but it definitely is very close to it. I think if you look at the hockey market as a whole, though, we are going to see a huge expansion because we are starting to see people, priced out of maybe some of the sports that they wanted to be in, some of the sports that are quote unquote maybe more popular or something. But it also, we see Upper Deck putting out the product, and based on Jason, the president, who just had a State of the Hobby letter the other day, that's one of his big points is like so many people are speculative about the market. There's cost of product is going through the roof, and you're not getting the same return out of a box. But their mission has always seemed, at least in my mind, to keep product lower cost. So it's like, well, what do we do as card collectors, as sports fans, when we can no longer afford maybe a box of baseball or basketball or whatever the case may be? Well, maybe we start looking at another sport that we enjoy. Maybe it's not our biggest love, but we go over there and we find, we can get a hobby box for less than $500, $400, maybe $300. That sounds like a good deal in this hobby right now.
I'm glad you brought that up because the rookie class here for the 25-26 product, which is really just getting going. We've had a few releases come out from Upper Deck, but the rookie class for this year is looking to be really strong. And I'm glad you mentioned the cost of entry because the flagship rookie card in hockey, I mean, you probably have three that are the most recognizable. You've got the Cup, you've got the SP Authentic Future Watch autographs, but the Young Guns have a history going all the way back to 1990, to the first Upper Deck hockey release. It's the flagship rookie card in hockey. And you can get yourself into a hobby box for $130, $140, $150, something like that. And you're guaranteed 6 Young Guns in a hobby box. And if you just look at the 25-26 Series 1 that just came out, if you hit the Ivan Demidov, he's really the biggest rookie chase, plays for Montreal, which is a historic team. He's probably the most hyped prospect that organization, and they've had some really good players, but maybe the most hyped prospect as far as a non-goalie is concerned. They had Carey Price, but most hyped prospect they've had in a few decades. The ceiling on this kid is extremely high. Montreal's a team on the rise. They were ahead of schedule, made the playoffs last year, look like they're going to be in good shape for a number of years to come with a lot of exciting players. He's the main chase, and you could have a pretty good shot at hitting one of those if you get one of those hobby boxes. And again, the cost of entry is pretty manageable enough that you could still buy that relatively stress-free and have some fun ripping that product. But it doesn't stop with him. You've got Jimmy Smnuggeraud in St. Louis, Zane Parekin in Calgary. And I know if you're not a hockey diehard, maybe I'm throwing some names at you that are new to you, but these are some fun guys to chase, and there's some guys with pretty high ceilings. Ryan Leonard, the Washington Capitals, has had a nice start to the season. Artem Levshinov for Chicago, he's a guy, a defenseman with a pretty high ceiling. But there are also some good, and this is maybe a conversation for another time.
No.
But
this is actually perfect. Go.
What I like to do when Upper Deck comes out, I look for the bargain teams, and then I jump into breaks. What teams give me a lot of quantity? What teams have multiple Young Guns? Maybe not the most hyped guy, but a team that I can get, at a relatively low cost of entry that can maybe get me a shot at multiple Young Guns. I look at a team like Nashville being a fun one to get in Series 1 this year. I think they have 3 Young Guns on the checklist. 2 of them are former first-round picks, so some pretty high ceiling there. It's a fun product. Upper Deck really does a good job making it pretty accessible. And then from my perspective, naturally, the way that I try a lot of the new hockey products is I grab the Panthers and breaks. It's usually what I do. Shout out to my friends at Mojo Break.
Oh, are you? I forgot you got a connection with the Mojo guys. They're good people over there. We appreciate that.
And that's why I shouted them out, because I know they're friends of yours too.
Yeah, we would never have allowed that shout out had they not been our friends. We would cut this immediately. So you kind of went into where I was wanting to take this was, who are some of the guys we should start looking out for, especially if I'm not going to know the names. I'm not going to know like how popular they are, but you will know that. And that's what a lot of these guys who are listening, who have an inkling of like, oh yeah, I watch a little hockey, or I want to collect, a couple guys, or I just want to go buy something. And once I do, what are the names that I need to be keeping an eye out for? Because ultimately, I think those are the questions that get a lot of people into that side of the hobby, right? It's like, once I know what I need to be looking out for, then it's, that red Corvette theory. I start seeing them everywhere, and then I start wanting to learn more about them. And so at this point, if we are chasing the players you mentioned, as far as like having some good upside potential, I've got a couple questions. Is Bedard still a thing? Like, are we still
very much so?
Okay, because I mean,
I remember the chase; it was huge, then
no one ever found the $2 million card. I believe. I think it was like the 1-of-1 Young Guns. I believe what the big chase was. That was the first and maybe I think only time I have gone out and bought hockey boxes. I bought multiple hobby hockey boxes, and I never found a single Bedard Young Guns. Period. But I will say, I did find some cards that I had no idea had value, including one of those was the cup. I didn't know that was a big chase. I had set that aside. I don't even think I had top-loaded it.
The day with the cup.
Yeah.
The day with the cup in Series 2.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I don't even think I had top-loaded it at the time. I just set it aside thinking it was like, oh, that's not one of the ones you chase. I thought because it was like somebody wakeboarding with the cup in their hand or something. And I'm like, nah, whatever. And it was like that was the most valuable card in the box that I had opened. So, yeah, it's cool to learn more of like what – both if you're just flipping cards or if you're a genuine actual collector. That's what I really hope your podcast audience is grown from, not just the flippers like myself of that product.
So you threw out a couple things there that I want to expand on that you mentioned there. You mentioned the day with the cup, and I can tell you last year, Series 2, because the Panthers have won back-to-back cups. So when the Series 2 24-25 came out, I kid you not, I probably took the Panthers. And fortunately, I mean, the Panthers didn't have a major young gun chase, so they were one of the more affordable teams. I probably took the Panthers in like 15 cases worth of that Series 2 before I finally hit a day with the cup. And I got the Matthew Tkachuk one, and I said, okay, I just wanted to hit one day with the cup card. That showed me just how hard those things are to pull. If you pull one, they are a pretty significant chase. And even the non-star players, even the non-household names, carry some decent value. So that is a cool chase that Upper Deck always does add to the Series 2 release and things like that. But you mentioned Connor Bedard. Long and short of it there, yes, absolutely still a thing. And he came out kind of when the Wemby craze started. So he was kind of like hockey's version of everybody chasing his rookie stuff when it first came out.
Yep.
He's not to get too into the weeds, but Chicago very much in a rebuild. They look like they're turning a little bit of a corner here to start the year. A lot of young players. There are some really exciting players there. Maybe he didn't have the statistical start that a lot of folks did, but he still had something like 150 points, all as a teenager over those 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. Connor Bedard's going to be just fine. Don't give away your Connor Bedard rookie cards. He's going to be a star in the league for the next decade plus. So hang on to those. And he's got a teammate there, Frank Nazar, who's a Michigan-born kid who's off to a really nice start, who's probably one of the hottest guys coming out of the gate in the hockey hobby as far as rookies from a previous year. His rookie stuff was in last year's product. So something to look for. You mentioned Bedard as well. And I thought this was something I wanted to make a regular segment on Nonsense on Ice when it gets going. That year, a lot of people came in, and hey, everybody's welcome, but a lot of people came in chasing Bedard and maybe didn't realize that the rest of that 23-24 rookie class was pretty solid. There was a lot of other stuff to look for, but a lot of people were looking for just Bedard. And I want to make it kind of a weekly part of the show to go back and highlight a guy from the last 3 years who maybe wasn't a household name out of the gate, but that we should be paying some attention to. So that's going to be something that is probably a regular part of the program once we get going. As far as this year, a few names to keep an eye on. St. Louis has 2 of them. Two previous first-round picks, Jimmy Smnuggeraud and Dalibor Dvorsky. They're probably an upper middle tier in terms of price range in the breaks this year, but that's a team to keep an eye on. Your big teams are Montreal because Ivan Demidov has a chance. He has the highest ceiling of anybody in the 25-26 product. Ivan Demidov has superstar potential, and he is a rookie in Series 1. That's somebody to look for. Plus, like I said, he plays in Montreal. That's a historic team, a diehard market. He's got a built-in following because of it. And the team's in a good spot in their trajectory. They're kind of trending upward, and they have a lot of exciting guys hitting their stride at the same time.
So other than Montreal, who would you say is another, like some of the biggest markets?
In terms of the markets in the league, obviously all the original 6 markets have a ton of history. The original 6 markets, Montreal, Toronto, Detroit, Boston, New York, Chicago. But, your big time sports markets in the States and your hockey hotbeds, if Buffalo can ever turn the corner, they've had quite a long drought outside the playoff picture, but Buffalo sports fans are some of the most diehard out there. They deserve at some point to see the Sabres have some success. And if they do, you're going to see a ton of buzz for the Sabres, I'm sure, if they were to have a superstar player or something like that. And they have some great young players there right now. I think they are making some headway if we're just talking, a big picture or just talking National Hockey League. But the Sabres fans are diehard about their team. I think as this goes on, something you can't, and I mentioned it earlier, but something you can't overlook, the Olympics are going to bring people in who maybe don't watch the National Hockey League every single day. Yeah. And the Olympics are going to, especially if the USA or Canada make deep runs, you're going to see a lot of people pay attention to some of the players from those teams. And maybe it puts a spotlight on some of on their cards as well. I think that's certainly something to keep an eye on.
I don't think it's too much to ask for another Miracle on Ice situation.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime.
There's going to be professionals this time. The whole thing with the Miracle on Ice.
The difference is if the USA won, it wouldn't be necessarily miraculous. They're going to be one of the contenders, one of the favorites going in.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's actually. Yeah. I mean, that does kind of get you excited for it. I'm looking at the card ladder index, and this is something I think will be really interesting to see a year from now. Mm-hmm. So year to date, right now, hockey is up. It's up about 4.5%, which is great. It's great. The only thing is,
compared to the other markets,
it's the lowest of the other indexes that are positive. There's a few other UFC, wrestling, and WNBA. Those are down year to date, but that is interesting where you land when you see like soccer is up 152%, golf is up 71%. It's not to say that being positive, even if it's a small percentage, is a bad thing. But I really do think that this time next year, we see that number substantially increase. And I think due to a lot of the things you said, but also just getting some more relevant attention to the space in this market. I'm very happy to have you on board, Jason. Before we go, you had a question for Jason. I'm very curious. Or Doug. I'm sorry, for Doug. I'm thinking of Upper Deck's president, Jason. Yes. Sorry.
It kind of relates, though, to your discussion of the hockey market being, it is up, but compared to the other sports, on my podcast last week, the Hobby Handbook, had a conversation talking about Shohei Ohtani and how I think that he is the best buy in sports. And I got into an argument with one of my followers saying that Connor McDavid is actually the best buy. And I know, I don't know much about hockey, but I know McDavid is one of the big guys.
Sure.
And my argument that I said, I think the struggle is not McDavid. He is in the realm of the sport. The upside is potentially being, the second greatest after Gretzky, I think. But he has the potential there. But the hockey card market, where is the upside there? Does it have the baked in interest and upside? And I will be curious to see how much growth you think that, having the Olympics and having continued maybe attention, more media, the new podcast, et cetera, bringing you attention to the hockey card market because it's affordable, which is an amazing thing, but it also means that there's less of a ceiling, I think, on a lot of the current players' cards.
Okay, interesting.
So, I have a couple theories going on that. So first of all, with McDavid, it bears watching because, and I've seen it firsthand because the Panthers have won back-to-back cups, and both of those years they beat Connor McDavid and the Oilers. So really all McDavid needs to do at this point is win a Stanley Cup. That's what's missing. You always wonder from a hobby perspective, is a championship already baked into his hobby value? Or is that already there? And also, in addition, on Connor McDavid, he can do things on the ice at full speed nobody else has ever been able to do. That's what does set him apart. He truly brings you out of your seat. He has that kind of excitement level with his game. He just does otherworldly things. As far as, Jesse, getting back to what you mentioned there about the index being positive, being up, but not to the extent of the other sports, I've always thought that hockey was also much more collector driven maybe than any of the other sports. I think in hockey, you do have a lot of people that chase their team, chase certain, I think maybe in basketball and football, you see some of those wild swings a little bit more because there is more hype. Hockey, I think there's a little bit more of a chance to have some things fly under the radar. I also think as an opportunist, if you're in the hobby, that might give you a little bit more time to follow a guy, watch him play. Is this a guy I want to get in on? And then you jump in and pick up some of the rookie cards at a more manageable price before they really do spike. Maybe you have a little bit more time when you're looking for hockey opportunity, because it is a more collector driven sport rather than a sport driven by, or a hobby segment driven by speculation and hype.
Yeah, I agree. And I think to some extent, every sport probably wants some people in there for the sheer flip of it because it increases their values to some extent. But it also, it's like, well, we don't want it to price us out. I'm sure hockey collectors out there hear me say that and like, no, we don't, stay away, but everybody wants the value of their cards to go up. No one's wanting it to stay flat or go down. And at this point, we're looking at, I think the GOAT obviously has to be Gretzky.
Yep.
The value of his cards. I mean, like he has a PSA 10 for the 1979 Topps Wayne Gretzky card. The last sold that I'm seeing was in August of 2022 for $1.2 million.
And aren't there like 3 of those?
It says pop count is 1. It says there's
okay. Yeah, I knew it was a very small number.
Yeah, it's crazy low. Now there's 128 nines out there. The nines do, frankly, shockingly less. It last sold for $37,000. $37,000 in August of this year. So 3 years after that, you have a sale at 37. I am very curious. Obviously, like the 2021 timeframe, that 9 did like 80,000. It had come down. I look at his sales too, and I see, the one before this 9 was back in April, and it did 24,000. So the fact that it went from 24 to 37, that's great, right? It's only one sale, but it is great that it's going up. I wonder today if Gretzky's 10 were to sell, what's it doing? Because it's kind of like you have to use him as your ceiling of like, well, I can't buy a Connor McDavid card, no matter how rare it is, more than this value because this is what the Gretzky does. And he's like the ultimate GOAT. But does that change at any point in your mind? Do you think like, oh no, we could see some modern cards doing more than that because maybe McDavid will, become the next GOAT in the sport?
I think that Gretzky's always going to be Gretzky. It's like Jordan in basketball. You're never going to be able to top the great one. He is going to be the best player in the history of the sport for a long time. Connor McDavid would have to do a lot. Put it plain and simple. He would have to do a lot to get to that point. And if you ask me right now, the top 4 in the history of the National Hockey League are pretty undisputed. You've got Gretzky, you've got Bobby Orr, you've got Gordie Howe, and you've got Mario Lemieux. And also, in my opinion, as of last year, Sidney Crosby jumped Mark Messier. I think we are currently still watching the 5th best player in the history of the National Hockey League in Sidney Crosby play at an elite level. So There is still an all-timer in my eyes. Well, Alex Ovechkin, too. He's the all-time leading goal scorer. But if you're talking all-around player, I think we're still watching the 5th best player in the history of the sport play at an elite level on a night-to-night basis. As far as McDavid goes, you might see some products, some cards of his reach crazy prices that Gretzky stuff doesn't, but Gretzky had a Topps rookie and an O-Pee-Chee rookie. Those were the Gretzky rookie cards. That was it. They were very condition sensitive. They had those blue borders. You want to read some interesting stuff, read about how they used to cut the O-Pee-Chees in 1979. It gives you a little bit of background as to why the edges were as jagged as they often were. But yeah, I think Gretzky stuff is always going to be kind of top of the hockey mountain, if you will. I think he's one of those guys you really can't go wrong buying Gretzky cards. It doesn't matter if it's the rookie, really anything else from the 80s. He has a lot of cool 90s stuff. And as time's gone on, he's had a lot of really cool autos that are still pretty affordable considering his standing in not just hockey lore, but in sports all time. He's one of the greatest athletes that we've ever seen in anything, and he still has a lot of autographs out there that are pretty attainable.
It's so hard for me though. With you go to a card show, how often do you see like you cannot go to the big national show and you are going to see tons of Jordan, tons of Brady. You are going to see a ton of the other GOATs. I never feel like I see hockey cards at card shows, and maybe I'm not noticing them. Yeah. But like I feel like that's one of the things too, is that like you have that collector base, but the hobby that is showing up at the shows, which I think is very like the peak of your engagement with the sports card hobby. Mm-hmm. There's not enough hockey dealers out there that you're not seeing it at shows. So then guys aren't getting exposed to it.
I bet if you went to the like Canadian Expo or something, though,
I'm
you'd
sure
see a
in
totally
Toronto,
different story, right? But it's also like, I was talking to our buddy Happy John the other day, and he went to the Madison card show, I think it was, and he said it was majority all football. And I was like, oh, well, I was just at the Nashville card show, and it's not majority all football here. It's really interesting to how different regions of the country you will have different shows, and I'm sure there are some regions where you've got tons of hockey collectors. I feel like this is what the podcast, the Nonsense on Ice, will help to bring more attention to, is like, where are these things happening? And what are the things I need to be looking out for if I go to a show? The simple fact, too, is when I said the Topps rookie, I was like, man, that doesn't sound right in my head, but I'm reading it off of the site. When you said O-Pee-Chee, I was like, oh, yeah, duh. There's the O-Pee-Chee rookie, which is essentially the same, just with different branding on it. And that one actually did do almost $4 million back in 2021 in a private sale. It was like March 2021 as a PSA 10. So I don't know. It feels like there's a lot of this world where it's like, you know, we know enough to be dangerous, but you will know enough to actually really educate us on and like actually help us to not sound as foolish either. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. Do we have an actual date, Doug, as to when the show starts?
We're looking at the week after next.
Okay. Awesome. All right. About
Details
2 weeks from now.
Follow. I've got a giveaway or two in the works with some cool stuff to help with a launch. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Yep.
All right. So you'll be able to watch the show on the SCN YouTube channel. You can check it out there. I'm sure there's going to be an actual podcast RSS feed that we'll be able to tie in there too, so everybody can just listen as they drive in for their commutes, whatever they want to do. But this has been great, Doug. I will say I did not feel prepared knowing that Mike was not going to be here today and we were going to have a hockey guy on. I was like, well, this is going to go really bad. And other than the times where I got that card wrong and then called you Jason, I feel like we went okay. I think it wasn't the worst interview out there, so I appreciate you dealing with that.
Jason can be my alias, I suppose. But no, really, I'm excited to be here, excited to work with you guys. You guys both do great work. I want to compliment you, Jesse and Alex. Both you guys doing outstanding. So I'm honored to be a part of it. Really excited to get things going. Looking forward to engaging all the folks out there. Again, whether you're a hockey diehard, you've been following it your whole life, or if you're somebody who's just getting into it for the first time, we're going to be excited to have you.
Well, there you go. Doug Plagens, announcer to the Stars for the Florida Panthers, and now the host of Nonsense on Ice, coming very, very soon. Thank you so much, Doug. We really do appreciate it and look forward to hearing more of you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Doug did excellent. In my opinion, I am actually very excited, especially for the fact that he just has an announcer voice. Like, he has the voice. Do you think, like, someone said, hey, your voice sounds like an announcer, that's the job you should do? Or do you think he's developed it over time?
I think it's a developed thing. I think, like, if you go to school, like, for communications, they do, like, I think let's work on your radio voice.
Yeah. It's like, oh, down here at the Crab Shack, we're going to be watching all the crabs race across the street to see who wins. First crab. Is that an announcer voice?
You got to work on it.
Is that not what people announce? Like, they don't talk about crabs racing?
No.
Huh. Okay. Well, anyway, we are going to finish up the show. Let me see. I think we covered everything. The only thing we didn't really talk about is Austin Reeves, if anybody's buying him, because he seems to be going off like crazy. We'll talk more about that, I guess, probably on Monday. We've got Adam Ireland. I think he's like VP of collectibles at eBay, like huge upper
big guest
eBay guy coming on here. Don't like to brag about it, but we're looking forward to that guest. Before we go, was there anything? I feel like I missed something on your list that you wanted to talk about. Did we cover it all?
Well, I had said that Michael Rubin, speaking of, you talked about Austin Reeves balling NBA a little bit now. Yeah. Rubin was at a rip party for the launch of Topps basketball.
Yep.
And somebody asked him whether or not Cooper Flag's debut patch was going to sell for more than Paul Skeens's.
Interesting. Okay.
And his opinion was that there are going to be multiple cards from this year's product that will sell for more than Paul Skeens's.
What?
Which maybe I don't know ball, which is a possibility.
Yeah,
maybe I don't know ball, but
I love that you're just calling it ball, though. I love that.
Ball knows life.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't know ball. And,
ball life. Yep.
Well, that's a saying though, Jesse.
I know. I do know that, but yes, I just appreciate that you're using it.
Maybe I don't, but is like Cooper Flag. He's a great prospect, really, really highly touted.
Mm-hmm.
You've got other really solid guys, VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey. You've got a lot of really good rookies here.
Yeah.
Do you really think you're going to see multiple sales? And I love the debut patch. I think it's an amazing innovation that Topps has done. Do you think that you're going to see multiple sales? I mean, you have not seen many sales over $200,000 for debut patches, let alone over $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 and the million plus that Skeens did.
Yeah, I was looking it up. It was 1.1 million is what that sold for. To do more than that, you would have to be like, I would think you would have to have Wemby level hype.
And Wemby, I think Wemby would easily outsell.
I think that, yeah.
That I agree with. But I feel like
maybe they've got a secret weapon. I don't know. Like, who knows?
And there are more high-end buyers in the basketball market. I understand that. You see, what the Shine and Kevin O'Leary and all them are doing.
Sure.
Like, I can see maybe there being some like back and forth bidding, trying to get these Grail level cards that you're not going to see again. But saying multiple, I don't see it.
He's not like, I don't think he's like just selling it. I think he must have something in mind. However,
he also might just
I think he is selling it. I think he's selling it too. I don't think it's just
which is
that.
fine, and that's his job. And Fanatics is here to make money, and I think they're doing great things. I really think the basketball launch has been a positive thing.
Sure,
but I just saw that and I was like, I don't know about that.
Do you think Dodgers are going to win?
I'm curious because that was the other topic that I had was whether or not Ohtani prices are going to dip if the Dodgers lose because they have to win the next two games.
Yeah.
In order to.
Just to actually win
to win it.
Yeah.
Which they have not been playing like that. I think we're probably going to see Yamamoto on the mound in Game 6, which is, I think he will show up. My guess is that we're going to get to a Game 7, but I don't know what Game 7 is going to look like.
Oh, I hope so. I don't want to see, like, I'm really hoping they at least get one, if not two more, just to make it, like, if they're going to lose, get at least one more in there. Get two more in there. Ideally, but don't lose.
But do you think that if they do lose, does his pricing fall? I have a strong opinion. I'm curious on your opinion.
When you had put that in the note, I remember now, and we don't have a ton of time to discuss this because I could go longer, but this is what I initially thought. If that was the thought, that pricing was going to fall, who out there is going to be like, all right, I'm going to be the first to lower mine? That was my initial thought is like, okay, I'm going to lower the price on this because they just lost. And I think if you lowered the price, it would get snapped up in a heartbeat. And if they get snapped up in a heartbeat, it probably means that there's a lot of people out there who would buy it at its normal price. So if it dips at all, I think it would be very small.
I think I agree. I think that you might see a slight dip. I think you've had people say, oh, well, you're going to see a bump or he's going to maintain his value because he's going to win the MVP. That is priced in.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that is a foregone conclusion. The market knows that's happening.
Yeah.
Ohtani in the last month, actually, let's look at the last 2 weeks. Ohtani's up 25% in the last 2 weeks. So
that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Weeks. Yep.
I think that there will be a slight
it'll be
pullback,
correction to some degree.
But to your point, as somebody who has recently bought some very nice Shohei Ohtani cards, I'm not going to sell them.
Well, and you also do a lot of buying at these shows. Are you going to be looking for a discount?
I'm not going to get a discount. I know I will.
You always want one.
I will always take
but
one.
You're not expecting one.
At the Nashville show, I bought 10 Ohtani home field advantages.
Yeah.
I basically paid full comp on all of them, and they're up double since when I bought them.
Since you bought them, which is so
which
crazy.
is insane. But I think that with the basketball release, we're seeing more hype on the home field advantage. But like, I don't think that you're gonna have my guess is it's gonna be the lower end stuff, the PSA 9, PSA 10 slabs of really common cards, like the Topps Chrome all etch from this year.
Okay,
you see a bunch of those. That stuff, I think you're gonna see potential pullback on. I don't think we're gonna see pullback on the nice stuff because I think that people are buying those with the mindset of I'm investing in this. I think Ohtani is one of the few players in the modern card market that is truly somebody that I look at and say you can invest in. You can put your money there, and it is a fairly safe investment. It's not a flip.
Sure.
I hold it for 10 years. You're fine.
My question then is, do you even take a risk and sell right now?
No.
And then try and buy if it were to drop. If you think they're going to lose.
Even if you do, I bought an Ohtani rookie auto at the Nashville show.
Yeah. Paid
$700-800. I would not. Card Ladder right now has its value, and Card Ladder's values. Take it for what it is. Card Ladder has it as over 12,000 card right now. $12,000. I wouldn't sell it for $12,000.
Oh, really?
Because my problem.
But you're viewing it as like an investment. It's
an investment piece, but it's also the perspective of I want money in Shohei Ohtani, and if I sell that card, I'm not going to go find another comparable rookie auto for less.
Yeah.
I suspect. Like, it's going to be hard to do that. Like, I'm just going to hold it. And I feel like the vast majority of dealers and people within the hobby who have nice Ohtani, they're not going to sell it for a discount. It's not going to happen.
Do you think people are tired of hearing about Ohtani?
No.
I kind of wonder that too, because it's like we've talked about him so much on the pod lately. And it's like multiple episodes are entitled like Ohtani this or that, and it's like
he's just that special. He is. Are people tired of hearing about Michael Jordan?
I mean, there has to be a point where we have to like change topics, right? But it's like on a podcast where you talk about some of the hottest cards and some of the best players, and not only that, who's playing right now. It's hard not to talk about him, right? Yeah. Do you think they should change the rule about like you can't walk somebody so many times? Like there should be a limit to how many times you walk someone?
No, they're not.
Yes, there should.
No,
there should.
That is a stupid take.
No,
because
it's
what they're going to do.
It's the best take, and I'll tell you why after you say your wrong thing.
If you go ahead, change the rule. You know what they're just going to do? Throw 4 balls. You can't tell a pitcher that they can't throw. You can't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you threw 4 balls. Guess what? You can't take a walk." If they change the rule, they're just going to still intentionally walk him. You can play the game of I'm not going to throw him a pitch that he can realistically hit. If he wants to swing at something 4 feet outside the zone, okay. You're just going to waste time.
I'd rather that, though. I'd rather him I want to see him try and swing. It's because it gets when it went 18 innings.
Yep.
My wife and I were watching till almost 2 a.m. I told her it's the most baseball I've watched probably since we've been married on TV. I love going to a game.
Yeah.
Watching on TV is hard. Watched the entire, from like the 11th inning on, I watched it, and it was brutal to watch him not have a chance to actually swing at that ball. And I get why. I do understand why, but at the same time, I'm just like, I would think that the business side of this sport is thinking, oh my goodness, people want to watch him swing, and they're not going to get a chance to. But to your point, they could just throw balls, and he might not swing at any of those. But
then you're going to waste time, which they, the whole pitch clock, they want to. But
they want to
I think
the
one solution that I have seen that I think is a decent one is basically saying if a player gets walked a certain amount of times in a row, eventually they start to get an extra bonus. So if he gets walked 3 times in a row, he gets to go to second base versus first base.
Oh,
that type of situation.
I like that.
That
because everyone was talking about
penalty.
He was on base 8 times in
9 times in one game.
Yeah, it's like that's
last
great.
time it was done in 1942,
which is cute. It's awesome. It's huge. It was the longest World Series game
by innings, not by length.
But yes, by innings. But at the same time, it's just like I wanted there. I mean, the walk off at the end was awesome.
It's amazing.
It was very cool. I did want to see more from that, and I think that could be an option, like some kind of rule where you get some kind of bonus or something.
Find a way to make it make teams question whether or not you want to actually do that. I've also seen the suggestion of basically make the walk a balk, essentially, where for non-baseball players, if the pitcher balks, which is him coming off the rubber after kind of getting into his stance, everybody gets to move forward a base. So even what happens a lot is, let's say that you have a guy on second base.
Yeah.
If Ohtani comes up to the plate, you just walk him. You don't want to,
Sure.
That opens up the option of a double play, of a force out, etc. If you make it a balk, now you got to move that guy to third base, which adds some strategy to it.
Yes.
Is my thing.
Well, I think that as people like myself who are the casual fan are trying to get more into it, and they're wanting to be in, like, they want to watch a game.
Yep.
And that's where I am. I want to watch a game and be like, oh, this is like riveting. It's exciting. They've already taken steps with the pitch clock. I think that's great.
Yep.
But I think little things like that would also help when it's like you got the greatest player and all you want to do is see him hit a home run and they're not even going to let him swing.
He just shows up at the plate and they just say, take first base.
We'll see you out there, buddy. That's my thinking. There's another topic of like, hey, is Ohtani getting too much attention at some of these games and not giving enough to, like, it's like Freddie Freeman hit the home run, the walk-off, and everybody's talking about Ohtani at the end of it.
It's the beauty of the Dodgers is they are a non-selfish team. They are very specific about what superstars they bring in because nobody has the ego. Yamamoto going out and saying, I'm going to go pitch in the 18th inning, send me to warm up after I pitched a complete game 2 days ago.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate no ego. I'm here for the team. That's what the Dodgers are about.
I did love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. It's been a good show. I feel like I was underprepared for all the sport talk, but at the same time, I really appreciate you picking up the mic lag over there. So thank you for being my Michael.
There's some small shoes to fill. I have small feet as well.
Why would you say that?
Because we're both small stature guys.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you weren't being like mean or anything.
No, I'm saying he has small shoes and I have small shoes.
Well then there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but it's a nice little double.
Double entendre, if you will. Welcome back on Monday. We'll be back with our guest. Mike will be here. I'll be here. We will have Adam Ireland from eBay explaining some of the new exciting things going on over there with eBay and eBay Live. Until then, I hope you all have a great weekend. I hope we see some fantastic baseball in the next few days. There's another game tonight, right? When is it? Is it tonight?
It's tomorrow.
It doesn't matter. We'll just cut all that. Don't make me look foolish, Rebecca. Actually, just leave it in.
Make him look foolish.
It'll be funnier. All right, there you go. We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.